5 for your message or messages. Come in, come on. I've got intel. Recon is afoot. Energies, up, big cat. I insist. May your comings and goings be forever covered by the grace of the Most High. When in doubt, go within. Let's dive in and unpack. I'm shaking with no dice. Good golly and gosh. Oh, okay. You've got the energy of an 11, darling dears. So you have to stand your ground in the face of many. Good golly and gosh. The 11 is represented by the 11th house, darling dears. Where the big cat fell is on the energy of a 4. Lean in, bestie. Lean in. The energy of the 4, darling dears. It's about your wealth, your prosperity, your self-worth, self-love and self-care. That's what they're looking at, darling dears. I know, right? And you're not paying any attention to it. It fell off the 4, but you are not paying any attention to all of this attention by this group because we already saw it by the energy of the 11, darling dears. Right. Okay. Let's drop down and get our eagle on. Okay, the numerology I use is the Pythagorean grid. It only goes from 1 to 9. So the 11 breaks down to a 2, darling dears. The 11 we already know is a master number. So you're a visionary, darling dears. It also speaks about your highly intuitive nature. You are a natural born healer. A wounded healer, I should say, because you've been through some things. Right, but it's about you being able to stand your ground by living in the moment, darling dears. Understanding the present is the gift. The past is just for reference material, so you don't do it again. And the future is for you to make in the present moment, darling dears. You've got the energy of a 5. The energy of the 5 speaks about what? Your foundation, your security. For some, this also speaks about the meeting of someone significant, which is going to put you in a position to change your foundation and your security. The energy of the 6 is about cooperation. We can also speak about the cooperation in the sense where you are having health visits, because the energy of the 6, according to the dice, is about your health, darling dears. It's about your routines, your working conditions, your employment, your co-workers, darling dears. Where you are of service to others. Well, there's a group where you work, right? They don't like you. They wish the ground would open up and swallow. Have you what? Swallowed up. Come through, TD Jakes. Push, clap. Okay, darling dears. So the energy of the 11, which is a 2, is ruled by the moon, okay? The number 2, the number 11, the number 20 or 29 could be your birth date or a significant number in your life, darling dears. The number 2 rules the letters B, K, and T. The moon rules Cancer, as well as the letters B, K, and R. Okay, you are a natural born empath, a HEYOKA, darling dears. I told you, you are a healer, but the best thing you've ever healed was thyself. Your luckiest days will be Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. Avoid the numbers 5 and 7. The number 2 is represented by the astrological aspect of opposition. So it speaks about circumstances out of your control. You've attracted a lot of circumstances out of your control. Why? Because it was all about and part of your ascension, darling dears. You had to go through some things in order to be the baddest of them all and be called what? Big cat, fist bump. Okay. The energy of the 4 is the color purples, green, and gold, darling dears. Wear those to give yourself added what? Steadfastedness, stand groundedness. How about that? How about that? Fortitude. Okay. The moon frequency is a 417. This is associated with the sacral chakra, darling dears. So someone or someone's is going to try and attack your confidence by word or deed. This is about not understanding the adjustments you've made in your life, darling dears. Okay. It's also about your creativities, darling dears. This is all part of your adaptability. This is why you're going to be experiencing some form of serendipity, some kind of fertilization. Could be in the form of a child, could be in the form of an idea which you are about to bring to this Malkuth, darling dears. This is about fully understanding when you stand your ground and call back all of your power, all of your energies, darling dears. You are a force to be reckoned with, especially if you've done this while standing alone. Fist bump. But we know, bestie, we're never alone. No. We always have our ancestral team and the Most High. Okay, let's get the house. This is going to be about the 11th house. As I said, the 11th house is about the friendships, darling dears. They're looking at what's in your wallet, how you're making your money. It's also telling me that you are a humanitarian, that you care about others. But you've learned to what? Put your cares to those whom deserve it. Somebody's also going to be adopting, or you're a step parent, or you're a pretend step parent. You've taken on someone else as your child to raise or guide. It also speaks about your business contacts. Again, the 11th house. This looks like a work thing, darling. Are we back in there? The trenches? I wasn't expecting it to get so fancy so quick, darling dears. Well, guess what? Whatever they're doing, stand your ground. Law number 31, control your options, right? And guess what? Give them something to talk about. Law 37, you create a spectacle by being the baddest of them all. Let's get the moon out, darling dears. The moon is coming through what? With the soul, darling dears. This is a soul lesson. And it's also what? The healing of thyself. I told you, to be the baddest of them all, you have to heal yourself and be truly free from whatever it is or whatever it was that tried to be what? A wrecking ball in your life, darling dears. Can we get a hot minute for what? Healing our souls. It wasn't easy, darling dears. I had to come back and tell you, it wasn't easy because you had to go through the DNS. What's that? The dark night of the soul. I did it once and I'm doing it again. Why? Because I'm the red light, green light champion of 79. As are you, bestie. You've been bestowed with the highest of honors, darling dears, to come out the other side. To be able to what? Look back. Not look back like Lot's wife, Salt Bay. To be able to look back and see how much you overcame when you had no choice but to be strong. And it wasn't easy. You was strong. You to get no S. You was strong. Okay. The energy of the 11, according to the dice divination, darling dear, speaks about the parting of the ways. You're going to be breaking up a friendship, breaking up a group's mentality or idea. I don't know. Maybe you're going to give them one good cussing. I don't know, darling dears. Listen, I can cuss someone out and still sleep like an angel on a cloud, darling dears. Why? Just because you're spiritual means that you've got to take it without the Vaseline? No, blood. Listen, I will light my white sage, right? Center and ground myself and get back on with my day. If you're looking for a job, darling dears, you're about to find that job. If it's a new position, if you're looking to change your position, a managed move, possibly within a working organization, darling dears, or maybe it's the managed move from working for someone to working for yourself. Yes, baby, because like I said, it's about money, and you are what? The breadwinner of all you survey. Something to do with your grandparents, darling dears. A grandparent, okay? Moon energy. Come on, Case, bring it back, bring it back. Moon energy is represented by the stomach, the breasts, the spleen, the brain, membrane. A grandparent with that issue. I'm getting that energy coming through. Okay, it's a female. Okay, okay, all right. And as I told you before, the letters are B. Oh gosh, what did I say? BKT and BKR, darling dears. All right, let's unpack. Let's unpack, because they're upset because you chose yourself and you're not having it, mate. And your tongue is savage. Why? Because you don't need to use the profanity. Just tell them about what you noticed about them, darling dears. Tell them in the Queen's English. They'll go away. What do they always say? And if it's a gang, a gaggle of bottom feeders trying to take a big cat down, darling dears, you strike the shepherd, right? And the sheep will scatter. Law number 42, right? The shepherd means what? The head honcho, the one they look to, darling dears. What's this? Because it was a divine spirit intervention, darling dears, a spiritual move. Remember, I told you that we have the moon. This was a healing of the soul. A healing of what? A generational curse, darling dears, that you had to let go, because that curse affected everything in your life. Your work, your money, your self-confidences, where you lived, the people you hung around with, even down to the things you ate, darling dears. This intervention was for you to realize that you must stand your ground, Scott. Had to put my back into it, darling dears. No matter what the circumstance. And how do you do that? By not focusing on the issue, darling dears. You focus on a solution. Tell us some more. Thank you. What's it? Transit? A car, bus, train? Yeah, you're going to be doing some kind of travel, darling dears. Or maybe the intervention was you put on a different GPS to these protagonists. And as I said, some kind of movement is definitely going to be going on within a job. But we've also got the transport. It could be moving to a new destination. Marriage, darling dears. Good golly and gosh. Is somebody going into union? Or is somebody moving away from a marriage? Maybe that was the intervention, darling dears. You were sleeping with the enemy. I know, darling dears. Listen, you can't punch yourself in the genitalia. It's not good. As you get this leg up from the divine, darling dears. Marriage could also represent a contract, darling dears. A contract. It could also speak about, because sometimes your working environment is like a marriage. Yeah, a bad marriage for some, darling dears. And it has its ups and its downs. But this particular group is focused on you, darling dears. They don't understand how you're able to still stand under all of these pressures they try to bring to bear. They don't understand why the gossip, the subterfuge, the bull swanky hasn't taken you down. They don't understand why you're not barking at passing cars. This is why they're doing the what? The hillbilly investigations, the Eye of Sauron. These mouth breathers are watching you. They're watching you live a life less ordinary, darling dears. Less ordinary, right? This was in the reverse, so it's rain, darling dears. What did I say? You are royalty, darling dears. They wanted to rain on your parade. They would like to rain on your parade. But when divine says yes, who can say no? Yeah. Coming through with the subterfusion of all swanky tower moment, darling dears. Kung Fu Panda, hiya! Haven't seen you in a month of Sundays. What's going on? You made me drop all my cards. God golly and gosh, now my heart is going pitter patter. Not boom diddy boom. We don't like the boom diddy boom. That's when we start getting what? Cerebral, darling dears. We start planning, plotting, and strategizing. Right? Sun energy. The sun is about you. Your appearance, darling dears, you're changing. This is about you stepping into a new period in your life. The sun energy is also a big cat Leo energy, darling. There's the 5th house. This is saying self-vitality, yeah, and a sense of purpose. The 5th house is again about your creativities. It also speaks about fame, you being under the spotlight. Why? Because of your confidences, darling dears. It also speaks about dating, romance, and the sex. Listen, don't promise your genitalia to no one unless you've investigated them, darling dears, to the 10th power. Why? Oi, bestie, don't you remember what happened the last time? You let someone come from a group and get into all of your shiznai. You lost your hairline. You had nothing. At the side, it was bald. Your hairline was blown back. Reverse friar tuck. You was nervous. Your skin was looking sketchy, blood. Yeah. Don't you remember the eggshells? Hey. Don't get smoked yet. The cards don't play. The 3 and the 6 goes to a 9. End it. Once and for all, darling dears. Why? Because you have an ear hustler around you, darling dears. And remember, and this is a 9 again, darling dears. No, sorry, this was an 8. This was a 9. Excuse me, I mixed them up. But the 8 is also what? The house of sex. Yes, it's about intimacy, but it's also a spiritual house, darling dears. The 8th house is also other people's money. So yeah, I'm still getting other people's money. It could be in the sense of what a legacy. We heard grandparents, darling dears. Maybe they passed with one of those bodily parts that I just mentioned. But you have an ear hustler amongst you, darling dears. What does it say? When they're ear hustling, you move in silence. You move like you're doing communicative dance of love and light. That's 2 of these and 1 of those. Beware of the people listening, darling dears. They're not listening because they're your friend. They're listening to what? Take you off this pedestal that's been given to you by what? This divine intervention, darling dears. Why? Because you did the difficult task of healing your soul. Maybe that. Listen, you are being watched, darling dears. Be on the alert. They're studying something that they will never graduate with any certificate. You are under the microscope, so don't think it's your paranoia, darling dears. They're watching you. They're searching your social medias. That's why you must have everything on lock, darling dears. Don't tell anyone anything. And if you want to tell someone something and it's a group, tell them all different things so they can argue amongst themselves about what they believe to be true about you. Listen, you owe no one nothing. Except love and light. 2 of these and 1 of those. How dare they dare? We've got the energy of a 3 on top. The 3 is what? The number of conflict, darling dears. Arguments, going into it. We're also in what? The 11th. We're in the 11th house, but the 11 goes down to a 2. The 2nd house is about your money, darling dears. They're worried about your money. The 2nd house could also put you're working in some form of a government position or working for the government. It speaks about your resourcefulness and it speaks about the past, darling dears. Something significant happened in your past they did not expect. With all of their hillbilly investigations, they didn't expect you to overcome it, darling dears. But you reign. You reign. Let's get an oracle ancestral message. I'm going to use something that I haven't used in a while. Stand your ground, darling dears, and always speak your truth, even if your voice is shaking. What do you mean? Do you remember how it was in the past, where you didn't say what you wanted to say because you didn't want to hurt no one's feelings? But then, what about yours? They didn't care. They didn't care. Listen. Excuse me, my civil play. Listen, that came from my belly bottom. Yeah, this is what they want to push back onto you, darling dears. Insecurity, but it's coming from the insecure. They're not coming from a stable place of self-worth and self-value, especially if they're trying to ear hustle on your life, darling dears. Your life is poetry in motion. Never you forget that, darling dears, because when you take the time to see how far you've come, look at this, darling dears. Victim mentality. They're trying to make you into the victim, but victim is victor, darling dears. This is what you do. You have to what? Play a fool, play a sucker to catch a sucker, darling dears. You have to. It's all the this and the that. Law number 21, darling dears. They would like you in that mentality, but you know what? You don't have to give out all of your knowledge. You can appear to be what? A bumbling idiot, darling dears. Let them think what they want to think. Why? You're the wisest one in the room. Why? Because you're moving in silence. You ain't telling no one nothing that's of any consequence to you, darling dears. Remember I told you that. These same ones are suffering from victimhood and insecurities. A double whammy of fucking knees blood. And they're projecting. Projecting. Didn't I tell you it was a soul mission? You had faith. You felt all in the heart, darling dears. They didn't realize that you was a HEYOKA, a super empath. Who's that? Oh, Kung Fu Panda, thank you very much for the Skrillers. You know I'm going to buy some honeydew melons and some fizzy water. Yeah, because you know I like to be posh up in there. No one's giving me nothing to eat but me. Hey, listen. Faith, darling dears, you've always been protected. You didn't know it. You have the whole world in your hands. And why? Because this particular one is holding what? The Ace of Cups, darling dears. It's to show you that the relationships that you had was going to be what? Your biggest stumbling block. The biggest thing that you had to overcome. But once you overcame it, you see the star quality. This is healing, darling dears. This is covering. This is ascension. The breakation of a generational curse, the whole world in your hands. They're watching you on the wide world web. This reminds me of what? An amethyst crystal. Wear it, darling dears, over the next few days. But you felt that. You felt that there had to be something different. It was like, for one time, this is a few years ago, I think it was around 2018, I came home from work one day. And I started to do my own routine. You know, you do your usual routine. And then I said to myself, but I did this last week and the week before. I was like, is that all there is to life? You know, but I was on my awakening, which started in 2005. Okay. But anyway, but like I said, you changed your paradigm, darling dears, because you was like, something ain't right. Something just ain't right. Let's get some tarot and dive in, darling dears. Because what? We ain't getting smoked. The energy of the 8 is the number of karma. It's the number of debt, but it's also the number of Skrilla.com. They can't stop your bag, darling dears. They can talk and say and do what they like, but they can't stop the big cat. Base of the deck, darling dears. The same ones will come back to you for opportunity. It also speaks about you may even be in the position to be their employer, darling dears. I know there is a saying that you can refriend an enemy because they will be the most loyal. Again, I will go back to law number 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Yeah. I want to be, no, I don't, me personally, I already told you where I stand. I stand listen, I stand on business. I don't re-friend, re-co-worker, re-family, re-partner, none of that. Re-neighbor, no blood. I've already seen your snakehood and I see that it's of a superior snaked niche. No. There's no re-friending, no re-co-workering, no. This is why they're doing the hillbilly investigations. Look, all of this negative, stagnant talk that's going round and round. You may even have progeny, darling dears. These people or this person is unable to move on. And it also speaks about travel issues. Maybe they're having travel issues. Look, the cards come up. Maybe their car's a piece of shiznai, darling dears. Maybe they're jealous of the Flintstones. Maybe they can't afford the payments. Maybe they're living like Hyacinth Bouquet when we know it's Bucket. Lots of stagnant talk, darling dears. Because you, look, I can't make it up. You recognize this superior naked niche, darling dears. You've isolated yourself. This is the time when you took to go within. Because you have to realize, if you are having repeat circumstances with different people, You have to look at the common denominator. There's something in you that's calling that energy into you. You had to go within for self-examination. This is where you get the self-improvement, darling dears. You have a new level of knowledge, learning, and it also speaks about wisdom. Tapping into wisdom of all levels, darling dears. You looked at where you was lacking, where you were stuck, darling dears, where you couldn't move, where you couldn't co-create. Thank you, Kimberly Loves, or Loves Kimberly. Thank you. Listen, I'm going to, not only am I going to get the honeydew melon and some fizzy water, I'm now going to get some unsalted roasted cashew nuts. I'm going fancy today, guys. Pinky's up. Yeah. You're shapely back, darling dears. Law 16. Whatever you're doing, darling dears, and again, it's speaking about travel. Travel for you. You have some kind of travel to do, darling dears. And I'm not just talking about the spiritual. This is a physical travel that you're going to have to make. And in all of these, we've got wands. So there's 3, 4, 5 of wands. 5 of wands is the conflicts and confusion, all of the talk, all of the chatter from this group, darling dears. Look, they don't like the success you've created of yourself. And it also speaks about you being highly spiritual and divinely guided. Split the deck, darling dears. They can't move on from you. They cannot. This is stuck. The cups also represent friendship, family members, darling dears. But it's stuck on bitterness. Unable to change, darling dears. So focused on what the success, whatever the success means for you in your paradigm. Whatever you're doing with yourself, darling dears. They're unable. They're stuck. Because they've done no form of self-improvement or self-examination. Too busy shining that light on someone else's biz-naive. Well, that's got them well and truly stuck, darling dears. Well and truly stuck. So they can't move on. Look at this. This whole group, darling dears, they enjoyed it when you was isolated. They thought you was being isolated from them, but you are the hermit. The hermit is what? The eternal student as well as teacher. You was learning new things. That's the star. The star is also what? Healing, darling dears. You found something to focus on and to follow, to fall in, darling dears. This is why you what? Healed your soul. This is why you're going to have a reason to celebrate. It also speaks about an invitation coming towards you, darling dears. Good golly and gosh, an invitation from someone from the past who's under judgment. Good golly and gosh, them I got your heat. Them I got your heat. Yes, baby. And they come with what? Bad luckiness, darling dears. Sun card on its face. Listen, they come to rob, steal, and kill. This personal people who are trying to steal your natural energy. The energy that you had to go within, darling dears, to bring yourself back online. You will never be the person you was before, darling dears. You are better than that. You are the what? 3.0. Yeah. Bad luck, unhappy, darling dears, very unhappy with their situation. These people live in the past. It also speaks about a lot of past debt, darling dears. Anything they say to you, Knight of Cups, is something that they will say to the village of idiots, darling dears. They will try to charm their way back in, but it's fake and fugazi. They don't bring nothing of fertility into your life, nothing that will grow. This is jealousness. This is bitterness. When you see the Emperor on its face, this is insecurity. This is victimhood, darling dears. Lacking in faith, right? Of being able to what? Heal themselves. 9 of Wands, which you did. But it's also about you being vigilant, darling dears. I'm your best friend, and not like Chucky, without the chelation, darling dears. You've come too far, in my Sophia voice. Come through the color purple, posh, clap, to be putting up with this shiznai. It speaks about spiritual strength as well as protection. It comes on the 9, just like the Hermit. It speaks about 9 ancestors in particular are around you at this moment in time. Your security, call them at any time. Anytime. Right. Let's dive a little deeper. See what these dummy bats are up to. So what they're going to try and catch the big cat in, because we saw the Judgment card, darling dears. This is a work situation, darling dears. It's going to try and catch you off guard in a working environment. Yes! Maybe you have a health issue. We already saw the 6th house, the number 6, darling dears. which is the sixth house, which is your well-being, your health, your body, your diet. Maybe you had some kind of health issue. They're going to try and catch you off guard to question you about your personal vitality, darling dears. It also speaks about what? Breadcrumbs. Somebody's trying to what? Muddy the waters within your working environment. They don't want you to be in a balanced and happy state. Well, guess what? Look, you see it. Major Arcana. This is the Wheel of Fortune. You are blessed and highly favored, darling dears. Whatever they're doing, is stop. It's about to end. Why? Because you are covered and you are on your path. Why? Because you chose to heal you. You stood your ground. And it was scary. It was lonely until you realized whom you are. And that you are the table, you are the entree, the main meal, the after, the dessert, the aperitif, whatever, darling dears, you're everything. Again, this speaks about worldwide travel. Somebody's going to have some unexpected travel. You're about to be gifted with some money, darling dears. But it's also what? About not being a spendthrift. Choose, if you're going to travel, choose wisely, darling dears. Choose wisely. We saw the transportation. They want to catch you off guard, darling dears. What do I want to catch you off guard for? To bring bad luck into your life? Waste your time, darling dears. Temperance energy on its face. They want, look, I can't make it up. It's come out twice. Temperance and temperance. And who are they? The devil's most diligent worker. This also speaks about what? Codependence. You are not tied to these people, darling dears. You come into this world alone, naked. Even if you're a twin or a triplet or whatever, you come out one at a time, blood. You come alone naked and you shall leave alone, darling dears. This is about you not being affiliated to any group. You are a lone wolf, darling dears. In the face of all of this adversity, they want to mess with your money. They want to mess with your health. They want to get into your business. And they want to be what? An ear hustler, who is really AKA a merchant of slander. Knight of Cups again, darling dears. They're going to come in softly, softly to try to catch you, the big cat. You've been pipped at the post, darling dears. Devil energy, Capricorn energy also speaks about you getting over some kind of addiction. Leaving, because the devil energy in reverse also speaks about this situation was wholly abusive, darling dears. Nothing, you learn nothing new in this situation other than to be what? Insecure and a victim. So you had to what? You had to get up from that table and give them the highest honor. Give it to them, darling dears. The highest honor of insecurity and victimhood. Split the deck, darling dears, and there's no going back. Eight of Wands on its face. This also speaks about messaging, darling dears, and it also speaks about words and intent. Somebody is intending to try and get you into some kind of entrapment, entanglement, because they did not expect you to what? Come back. Yeah, be careful of this Knight of Cups energy, darling dears. Right? Ace of Pentacles is the opportunities that are coming towards you. It could also speak about a new vehicle. Four of Swords is telling you to fall back. Keep your own counsel. This is your rebirth. This is your new beginning, darling dears. Keep your own counsel. Move in silence. You don't have to tell anyone anything, darling dears. And listen, you get two aces, darling dears. Your finances are looking good. Your health is looking much better. You will make better relationships going along the way. But you have to go through this alone period. You had to be alone to realize the energies that you were around was beneath you, darling dears. Let's get another deck. Base of the deck. Yeah, you had to choose. It was a difficult decision. But it wasn't in blind faith, darling dears. You had to have faith in the unseen. Step without seeing the stare. Go outside of yourself. This goes to what? Six of Swords, darling dears. To move on from a situation. single and independent, baddest of them all, darling dears, communing with the Most High. And again, it's telling you to pay attention to your intuition and your discernment, healing, right? And the Nine of Pentacles always comes through to remind you to what? To be drama-free, darling dears. Be drama-free. Don't invite it into your house. Remember, right? When you invite people certain actions, you have to invite it in, darling dears, and that's you're giving. It's like you're inviting in a spirit, because we're all spirits. Yeah, listen, sometimes the epiphanies just come, because when you check it, the soul, that is what makes us all spirits. And when you have to invite it into your house, you know, these energy vampires, these people that come to rob, steal and kill, you've got some people that will befriend you, darling dears, tell you that you're the best thing since sliced bread, is because they want to get their echopraxicon, or they want to be on the inside so they can take you down from the inside. It's only people close to you that knows what's going on. Yeah. Don't invite these spirits into your existence, darling dears, because it will affect your everything, and everything that you've built, this stable foundation that you can stand on, darling dears. You stand on business, it'll be gone. Look at this. Jealousy. This is someone that is abusive, darling dears. It could also be a past partner, a family member, whatever it is, darling dears. Someone who had authority in your life. If this was a marriage, because the King of Pentacles is a husband or wife, you know, gender is fluid, right? This marriage is over, darling dears. If this is a partnership, wherever they went to, darling dears, they're feeling vulnerable. They're still paying attention to you. It also speaks about gossip, subterfuge, and bull swanky, darling dears. I told you, they haven't gotten over you. They have not. Why? They didn't expect you to stand your ground. They thought you'd choose them forever. Choose to be effed over. Choose to have no hairline. Choose to be broke. Choose to be cheated on. Choose to be abused. And get a two-piece and not from the KFC. Listen, who's choosing that? Not I, said the big cat. Yeah, single and independent, darling dears. You are a visionary. Whatever plans you have, darling dears, they're about to come into fruition. Some of you have to realize that your plans, you have to physically move for them to what? Be actualized, for you to see them on this Malkuth. Remember, I told you that. Face of the deck, darling dears, because all you do is win. It doesn't matter what these feeble-minded peasants want to say. It doesn't matter what they research about you, darling dears. They will never graduate, right? And they can't stop you. They cannot, because you're the baddest of them all. Emperor energy. Someone's coming into your life, darling. Look, the Chariot came out as well. Someone's coming into your life at a hot trot. Who is this? Right? Listen. Who is this? Because the Emperor could be a partner, a significant friendship. It could also represent you standing in your authority, moving towards your infinite possibilities. But if this is the person, who is it? I need another deck. What do they want? Listen, someone's got to check. Base of the deck. Whoa, child. You want to know if this person's coming in to manipulate you up the Watusi. All right. Listen, the cards don't play, darling dears. What's their purpose? This person is coming to what? Help you move on from a trauma or a drama, darling dears. Somebody's going through an issue. We said the 11th house. It could be in your working environment. Someone is about to stand on your side, darling dears. Is this a romance? Right? Is this a romance? The cards are saying, what do you want to know for? You always go straight to the romance. What's the matter with you? Yeah? You've got 2 8s on the tableau, darling dears. When we see the energy of the 88, it speaks about you are about to have some opportunities created for you, or you've created them for you to make more Skrilla in the present moment. Wherever you are, you're definitely making an impact, darling dears. And the 88 is also a reminder for you to what? Stay focused on what's important to you, your biggest vision. The cards ain't playing. They're effing with you, big cat. What does this person want? I'm still going to ask, because I'm tenacious. Yeah, because you've already had the worst. What's this? The cards don't want you to know, darling dears. The cards don't want you to know. Why? Because they're telling you to what? You have to use your intuition, Chariot energy, your discernment. It doesn't matter who approaches you, what package they come in, darling dears. They could be so good they blow your hairline back, darling dears. I don't care. You have to make sure that they're the right one for you, darling dears. You can't take people on face value. But you are getting some form of assistant. Look, I was about to say assistance, security. This person is whoever's coming in to help you, darling dears, or to be of assistance, or to put you in a different position, darling dears. This person comes with security, stability, all of the above, darling dears, a new foundation. There's an opportunity and an offer that's going to be put on the table for you, darling dears. An offer, but it's going to have finances attached to it. Base of the deck, darling dears. And you'll still be the baddest of them all. Solo dolo, like the boys or girls on the pole. Whatever issues that are at your back, they're nothing to do with you. Why? Because your back is turned, law 16. Yeah. What did I just say about the money? So always stand your ground, bestie. No matter what people say, it doesn't matter what people do. As long as you don't realize that, as long as you realize that you don't have to put up with it. I got an email the other day from this lady, and she's now taking care of her mother, who's 94. The lady's got all of her faculties about her. She cusses that woman out on a daily basis. Tells her about her this and that. Her self-esteem is so low. And she's in her 60s, and she's still taking care of this narcissistic mother. I said to her, listen, me personally, I mean, I did her reading, that's her reading. I'm not going to say what it came out for her. But me personally, the card already spoke. Listen, there's a nursing home for you, blood. I'm not putting myself for it. If you've had the person was a narc from the beginning, darling dears, they're not going to change. As they get older, they get worse. You take this new path of transformation, darling dears. You took it. Mature. This is represented by the God card in this deck, as well as the High Honor card, darling dears. The energy of the 5 is the conflict and confusion. Let it all be at your back, darling dears. Keep your focused on your big picture, and definitely someone is watching you, or someone is looking at your social media. They're trying to get intel, darling dears, to block your blessings. But Divine is going to make sure that you make the right contracts. Lover's card, Gemini energy. Gemini is 3rd house. It's about right contacts with your short journeys. Maybe you're going into higher education, darling dears. It's also the house of what? Siblings, as well as extended family members. Now we know who's watching you as well from the outside. Family members, aunts, uncles, cousins, nephews, nieces, things like that, darling dears. Their eyes are on you. They're trying to learn you, darling dears. They're trying to outthunk you. You can't outthunk a big cat. You will continue to make the right choices. The baddest of them all. The 13 is what? The Death card, the transformation, darling dears. And again, we're back in the 8th house, Scorpio energy. It was a painful breakup, but this breakup gave you infinite possibilities, and the biggest one was of transformation. This is also the energy of the 13 is also representative of a divorce, leaving a situation, but it's also the new beginning, the restart, the rebirth, the blessing, the blessing in disguise, darling dears. You had to go through this transition. Why? Because it was part of your soul mission. When you realize that you are a badass, darling dears, it will blow your hairline back and it will take your breath away, because you will start seeing everything for what it is. You will learn how to play the game, and life is but a game, darling dears. But you coming out winning. Face of the deck, darling dears. Embrace your future as a child, darling dears. The 18 is the moon. You're always going to have haters, fake friends, frenemies, darling dears. But it's for you to discern the bad energy of it all, the deception, darling dears. You can't be caught by the same skullduggerous moves twice. All of that snakedness. On that note, I drops me mic to love to my Teesprings, my Patreon, or my TikToks, where I also upload videos. And as I always say, don't get smoked. And don't smoke yourself. From the ashes, baby. Namaste. Big cat wave. Until we meet again on these tarot streets. Cat, cat. Cat, cat. Stand your ground, bestie. Stand your ground. That's not selfishness. That's self-care, self-love, and self-worth. Big cat wave.